Creating some crayons and number one and a banner for some popcorn boxes. Let's go ahead and start. In design space, we're going to go ahead on your left hand side. We're going to click on images and we're going to type in what we're looking for. Let's start first with the banner and crown. I have the banner already purchased. So if you haven't purchased it, you just continue to look. If you have purchased it before and used it, you go to filter. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click on free, click on my images, and click on purchase. And then this is the crown, and this is the banner. Once you click on your images, you'll see them in the bottom of the screen. We go ahead and insert images. Let's set it aside. Go on the side panel, left hand side, click on text, click on the number 1. Okay, let's go ahead and start sizing and changing colors. Now let's start with the number 1. You select the number, go to the font, and let's go ahead. You can look for your font one by one, or if you already know the font you're using, you can just type it in. Click on the font you're using, go to the right hand side, unclick the shadow, and we're going to delete that shadow. Once you unclick the eye, unclick ungroup, and then we go ahead and delete that shadow. I only need 1. Now let's go ahead and size it. This number 1 is for the popcorn box. It'll be 1.8 by 4.0. Go to your banner, unlock, 1.8 by 4.0. And we lock it. Okay, now I always like to change the colors on the images so that when I go cut, I'll remind myself what color cardstock I need to use. Click on the image, click on that little black box, and we're going to go ahead and just get a gold color. Click on that yellow, click on advance, and start moving your little circle to the desired, similar to gold. I'm just going to go ahead and do that one. Click out of the screen. That's your first image. Next, we're going to use the crown. Click on the crown and let's size it. We're going to do the same steps technique that we did with the number 1. So the big crown, which is also for the popcorn box, it's 2.7 by 2.7. Not for the popcorn box, I'm sorry. We're going to make some letters, some centerpieces with a letter. Okay, now next is the crown, also for the popcorn box, which will go with the number 1. So that size is 1.2 by 1.2. And we lock it. Next, I'm going to the right hand side, unclick that black shadow, which I'll not be using, click ungroup, and then we're going to go ahead and delete it. Make sure your size is the same, 1.2 by 1.2, and let's change the color. Click on the box right in between line type and fill, and just select the color which you already used with the number 1. Click out of the screen and you have already your both images. Now, I'm going to duplicate this crown because I'll be making also letter centerpieces. So this crown will be a little bit larger. So we're going to click on the image, unlock, and this will be 2.7 by 2.7. On the letters, I will also have the 1 spelled out, O-N-E, so we're going to go ahead and bring in it as well. Click on text, type in the word, and then we go ahead, click out of the screen, drag your letters. Let's go on the right hand side, unclick the eye, ungroup, and then we're going to go ahead and delete that shadow. And let's go ahead and ungroup again, and we're going to size each letter. Each letter will be 1.5 5 by 1.5. We're going to do this process for all 3 letters. Then we select all the 3 letters. You go to the top banner, in between again, line type and fill. Click on the black box and you select the same color. If you, of course, you're cutting it the same color as the crown, which we are. Okay, we have that all set. We can go ahead and set it aside. Now, next thing is the banner. For the banner, we're going to go ahead and change the colors. So go to your right hand side. The inner color will be white. I click the inside banner on the right hand side. We're going to go ahead back to line type and fill. Click on that and select white. Then we go to the outer banner. Click on the outer banner. Go where it says no fill. Click on print. And the reason we're doing this, it's because I'm going to add a gold trim. This will be a print and cut. This section right here, all this, I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to highlight all of it. What's in this box will be cut. These are SVGs, which means I'm going to load my glittered cardstock into the machine and it'll cut all these images on the glittered cardstock. Versus this piece right here, it's a print and cut. I'm going to type something in the banner and it'll print it out. And then you load it to your machine and it'll cut whatever you printed out. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead back here to the banner. The outer banner, we're going to click on that. It'll select the outer banner right here in the blue box. We're going to go back where we already filled in print. Click on that pink box. Click on color. Select pattern because it will be filled with a pattern. Whatever image you have on your canvas that you clicked will fill it in with whatever pattern you choose. Now I'm just going to go ahead and get my gold pattern. It looks like gold, like glitter. I'm going to use this one. Well, you know what? I want it even more, maybe more shinier. Let me see this one. Okay, that's better because my cardstock will be almost that color. It's never the same when you print and cut than when you cut because it's gold, but not all certain types of gold are different, and it's totally different when you buy a cardstock to match it up. It's really hard to match it up with a print and cut. So it's almost the same as that glittered cardstock I'm going to use. Click out of the screen and you are done. It's still grouped. So let's go ahead and size it. The banner will be 2.9 width by 1.2 height. Click on the banner, unlock, and it's 2.9, 1.2, and we lock. Let me go ahead and zoom in the screen so you guys can see it. Much better. Now, we're done with that. And don't worry about that black line. That black line does not come out when you print. Let's go ahead on text. And my text will be Caleb is 1. Click out of the screen. Bring this here. Let's bring this up. And bring this here. Now go to the left hand side of the screen and click on the shadow, and then you're going to go ahead and ungroup so we can go ahead and delete that shadow. And we X out of it and go ahead and go back to the wording, highlight the wording, and let's group it. Grouping your wording will not resize, will not do anything special. The regrouping is just for you to move your wording. I didn't hit group. Your wording all across your canvas. Now let's go ahead and change the font. With your wording selected, you're going to go ahead and change the font right here. If you know the font you're using, you can just type it in or look for it one by one. Okay, we changed the font. And as you notice on the right hand side with the other one, we had a shadow. This one is only one layer. Okay, so with the font just like this, with the lettering, the wording, I'm sorry, just like this, we're going to go ahead and click on the wording, click on fill, click on print, click on the black box, click on print type color for the drop down box to come out, click on pattern, and we're going to fill in the wording with the same glitter pattern that we found for the banner, which is this one right here. We click on it. Okay, once it's filled in with the wording clicked, we're going to go ahead and go up here to this banner, letter space, and let's try to space it in just a little bit. Okay, once you adjust your letters so they can come together, you go ahead and highlight your entire image, go to the bottom of the screen and click on weld. It's not highlighted because I already welded. And then you go ahead and drag it in your banner, select both images and align, and let's hit center. It'll center it. Here you go. Once you do that, you go ahead and attach it and then flatten. And as you notice right here on your right hand side, you had two images, but once you flatten, it'll become one image. Once you do that, after you flatten, your machine will cut the entire image. You will print it, and then the machine will cut it in one piece. It will cut all around your banner. Now let's go ahead and bring in, unclick the eye so we can bring in all our images. And we need at least 15 of each. Click on make it. You adjust your project copies in the amount that you need. I say 15. You see, and click apply. Before we click on continue, you'll see this black box around your print and cut images. You see it right here, print and cut. That's the registration mark. You need the registration mark in order to your machine to recognize what it's cutting. I will be printing on 65-pound white cardstock. I load it into my printer, let it print, stick it on the mat, and continue. The next will be the numbers and the crayons. I will be cutting on glittered cardstock. As you can see right here, it says cut, meaning you will load whatever cardstock you use into your machine, follow the steps, and machine will cut. Let's go ahead and click on continue. Once here, you'll see your machine, send to printer. Wait, I did the wrong one. Let me go one by one. Right here. Send to printer. You'll select the printer you'll be using. You can select your copies if you make in 30, 50, whatever amount you need. And we go ahead and click on print. Once that print, you stick it to your mat, load it to your machine. We go ahead here and select the cardstock you'll be using, which is the 65. There's no 65, so you can use 60. You load your mat, and then since it's not an intricate cut, what I do is press the fast mode button. Once it cuts out, you go ahead to the next one, continue, follow the steps. Now, when you have the glittered cardstock, you go ahead, go back to the number 1, to the drop down box, and I'm selecting poster board. Why? Because that type of cardstock that I'm using, it's heavy. Stick your cardstock to your mat, load it to your machine. On this one, I do not press the fast mode because of the crayons. Those little parts, and especially the small and the ends, the letters. Now, once you do that with all your mats, I'll see you at the table so we can start assembling. Now that we're back at the table, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we need to complete the popcorn boxes and the letter centerpiece. First and foremost, we have the cutouts. This is the number 1. This is the big crown for the wood letter. This is the small crown that goes on the number 1. And this is the cutout that says Caleb is 1. Next, we need the letter, whichever letter you're using. I use a 7.5 inch letter. Then we need the popcorn boxes, which are 9 by 6, 9 in height. And the width is 6. Gold glitter. White glitter. We need the Mod Podge. We need the white, which I don't have it with me here. We need the white acrylic paint. We need a dowel rod, which I already painted in gold. Let me put this aside. And we need a 3x4 wood base and gold acrylic paint. The wood base, which is 3x4, I painted it on both sides in gold. I'm going to set this aside. What I did was painted the letter front and back with the white acrylic paint. After I let it dry for maybe half hour, because I did 2 coats. After that dried, I went ahead and applied the Mod Podge on the letter. And I applied all the glitter just in the front and the back. Okay, once you do that, let's go ahead and set it aside. I have a drill and the bit is 3/4, which is the diameter of the dowel rod. Dowel rod is 12 inches, but it's 3/4 in diameter, which is the same, like I said, the bit. So what you do is you take your base. You take something to mark your base. You take your letter. You put it right in front of you, and you're going to mark where you're going to make the holes. The reason being I'm making the holes is because, like I said, customer chose to have them on a base. Because if it would have not been for the base, they stand alone. Okay? So you take your letter. You put it on your base the way you want it. You can do it either in form of a diamond or you can just leave it square. But we chose form of a diamond. You put your letter and then you mark your base wherever you're going to drill the hole. The reason why we're drilling the hole is for us to be able to stand the letter on the base without it being knocked over. The letter, as you see, can stand alone on the base, but once we glitter up that base, I'm not sure that it will stand alone. So to have it sturdy enough, I'm just going to go ahead and mark it with this X-Acto knife, just to mark it a little bit. Once you mark where you want your holes, you go ahead and take your drill. Next thing you do, where you mark those holes, you go back and you mark your letter right in the bottom. And you go ahead and, oh my Jesus. And, okay, you drill the holes on your letter. Remember, your letter has to be thick enough for it to hold, for you to be able to drill that hole on the letter. These letters are really thick. These are wood, not paper mache letters.
These are wood letters. I love working with this type of wood letter. Paper mache I do like, but I don't love paper mache. I love these these letters. So like I said, be careful drilling the hole because the letter has to be thick enough. If it's thin, you have to be really careful, or just get a thinner bit. And those are the 2 holes. Next, what you do is, let's clean this up. You take your dowel rod and you take a cutter. Let me see here. I could never find a good cutter for my dowel rod, so I found this little device right here. It's like a nail clipper. This is, believe it or not, a dog nail clipper. This is the only thing that I found because I couldn't find anything else. So what I do is put it up a little bit like this and just take the dowel rod. You're going to measure. You stick it in your base and you're going to measure just with your finger. Now, I don't have the measurement because it's so small. It's less than ½ an inch. You're going to go ahead and measure your dowel rod, and then you just cut it. And that little piece is the piece that goes on, like in your letter. Or we grab it. See, I made a whole bunch of them. Let me see if you guys can see it right here. And that you'll be able to stand it on the base. Just get your holes pretty hard. I can't even see it. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay, once you do that, let's go ahead and put it in the hole. Okay, you press it down and it's supposed to be just like this. Now, once you fit the hole, right? Once you do that, you're going to take your base. You take the Mod Podge, apply the Mod Podge on the base, apply the glitter, let it dry for at least 24 hours. I usually leave it 24 hours. After all that dries 24 hours, which is just like this, then I'll go ahead and add my acrylic clear sealer Mod Podge. That way it will not shed like once you touch it or whatever, the glitter will not be all over the place. So what I do is I'll just go ahead and take the drill, re-drill a little bit just in case it has glue or glitter, re-grill, reposition the base, take your letter, and now we go ahead and again, I have to make that hole a little bit more to the side because, open it a little bit to this side because of the glitter. Okay, there you go. Okay. Kids are back from school, so you're gonna hear them a little bit. Okay, there you go. That's how the letter will look. Let me see if I can try to put it towards you. So if I put it this way, see? So what I do is, once that is on, oh my God, they look fabulous. All that bling. Take the crown, and we're going to glue the crown on this side. It'll look something like this. It'll, right here. And then take your letters and add them right here. I'll do that as well. I already have my letters pre-cut, but sometimes when I have a big project, I'll go ahead and cut more. So this is my little stash. This is my stash for the letters. What I do, like I was saying, pre-cut them and just organize them in this little bin. I have even crowns in here just in case. Small little crowns. Now, since this is a big project, I'm gonna have to cut more letters because then I'll be using, I think, all these O's and the N's. Okay, what I'm gonna do is just take the letter out the stand so you guys can see it better. Just gonna put it right here. Take the glitter out the way. Okay, and adjust that, and I'm gonna fix this one later. Okay, so we have just this. Okay, now that we have the letters, I didn't even show you guys earlier the letters when I showed you the cutouts. Let's go ahead and apply the letters. Just center your letter and grab your tweezers, hold it, and just go ahead, add a few drops of the hot glue. Remember, your letter is glittered, so a generous amount of glue, but be careful pressing it down too much. Leave it on like just for a few seconds, and then you go ahead and start pressing down. That technique is great when you have a surface that it's glittered or anything else on your surface that it's not flat. That way you can press it down with no problems. And then you center the other one. I'm going to do the same technique for all these two letters. You take your crown and you just place it wherever you think it's best, on what side. You can place it down here, you can place it on the other side, or the same side where the one is. I'm debating either the same side where the one is sideways or on the other side, but I'm aiming more towards the side where the one is. Once you decide, that's like maybe ½ inch up, you apply generous. This you apply generous amount of glue on the crown, and you go ahead and you place it. I'm going to place mine sideways. Fabulous. It looks great. Once you're done, you go ahead and place the letter on the base. Oh, this looks so great. Okay, there you go. Oh. Okay, let's go ahead and put it up a little bit, and there you go. Okay, now for the popcorn boxes, when I add whatever embellishment, I don't open the boxes. I'll just look for where I want to place it. So if, example, you get your box like this. If you open your box, I want to place mine right here on this side. So I'm just leave it closed and it's centered. You go ahead and take your number 1 first of all. Hold it with the tweezer. Add generous amount of glue just in the middle. You're going to add the glue in the middle because once you press it down, it'll go all the way to the side. Then you go ahead and place your number 1 like right in the center. Okay, once you do that, you go ahead and take the small crown and you add glue as well right in the middle. Not too much glue. Remember, when you press down, it's going to go all to the edge and it's going to be very, very difficult to clean it out. And then you go ahead and place it right on the top of the number 1, like sideways. And then that you can go ahead and press it a little bit. Okay, and there is 1 box. And then let's go ahead and the second box, it's the same technique. I look for this side right here, leave it flat, and I go ahead and take my big crown. This is for the big crown and the banner that says Caleb is 1. Tweezers and same technique. Small amount of glue. Generous amount on the bottom. Look for the center. Press down. I buy these glue dots in bulk on eBay. You can find them in any craft store, but I buy them in bulk because I use them a lot. I applied the 2 glue dots, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the back paper, and I'm just going to go ahead and set it right here below the crown. Center it and press it. Okay, and it will be just like that. Okay, we are done. I'm going to finish the other 28 popcorn boxes and the other 8 letters, and I will post a picture at the end of the video for you guys can see how it all came out looking fabulous. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And as usual, happy crafting.